What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Fresh Cut Damo, aka Dutta Dutta, aka Damuto. Yes sir, yes sir. And today be watching UnrealEntGaming. You know what I'm saying? Omen, Ultra Instinct Omen Goku versus Gas. Vegeta passes out. What that means? So it's the new chapter of Dragon Ball Super. So we gonna get into it, man. This chapter is getting very interesting, and I'm very into it. Let's go.
As we kick off Dragon Ball Super manga chapter number 85, entitled To Each His Own, with Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku having to oversee both Gas and Vegeta, with Goku now appearing to be very surprised at the overall situation at hand. It was only during that moment where Vegeta went on to comment, "Damage is nothing but fuel to keep me engaged in this battle," which for you presents quite the dilemma. What now? Would you like to make me even stronger? Vegeta asks. But even then, despite the conversation that they were having, Gas was not looking to have any of it, so instead, Gas from there had immediately taken initiative in dashing directly towards Vegeta and punching him in the stomach, in which, judging based on Vegeta's own reaction to this, it looks as though Vegeta now is feeling tremendous amounts of pain. But even then, it did not stop there, because Gas had immediately gone, and from there being shown having to kick Vegeta up in the sky before following him, as he quickly from there had gone in kicking Vegeta right back down onto the ground and basically ping-ponging him around. As you can also see Vegeta's body basically bounce up off the ground. That's how hard Gas had hit him, to where from the jump, Gas was not looking to keep Vegeta around during this fight any longer. So after delivering 3 thunderous shots and knocking Vegeta down, to cap it all off by adding the icing on top of the cake, Gas had then gone and immediately being shown flying on down and kneeing Vegeta directly in the stomach, in which had not only resulted in Vegeta displaying tremendous amounts of pain and even going as far as to cough up blood, but Gas really made sure that he drove this knee deep into Vegeta's guts, because essentially by the time Gas had stood up and aiming his arm downwards, one would only imagine at this point that Vegeta was finished, as Gas went on to then tell him, "The answer is simple. I will kill you in one blow and be done with it," Gas says. As with the overall situation itself even now seemingly having to annoy Goku, we only then see how Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku was then shown getting into fighting position and assumingly getting ready to jump back into the fight, until it was only before Goku could make his move where out of nowhere Gas was struck directly in the stomach, in not only reacting in a very shocking and painful way, but the momentary impact itself had even gone to surprise Goku, as this itself had come from none other than Ultra Ego Vegeta, because it was within this very moment where Ultra Ego Vegeta had gone in making his move by leaping on back and punching Gas in the stomach, to where even then with Gas's body being shown shaking as he was in tremendous amounts of pain, with a very battle damaged and bloody Vegeta then being shown smiling, Vegeta from there went on to tell Gas, "Thank you for the prime fuel, you vermin," Gas says. But even then, despite Vegeta's overwhelming amount of confidence being displayed, Gas by no stretch of the imagination was even close in being done with Vegeta. So the moment Gas had the opportunity in knocking Vegeta away by punching him, we only then observe how Gas was able to land multiple shots on Vegeta, including having to kick him away. But this time, instead of allowing Vegeta to move on his own and do his own thing and possibly having to retaliate, Gas had immediately gone in sticking his arm out by pointing out at Vegeta and having to freeze him in place, as even with Vegeta from that point on not realizing as to what the heck was going on, what Gas ended up doing as a means of having to use telekinesis and manipulation was Gas from that point on began to teleport Vegeta all throughout the landscape, and not only going as far as to control his movements and his body and not allowing Vegeta to break free, but this only had gone as far as to give Gas the opportunity to hold Vegeta in place, and not only being shown having to kick Vegeta back down onto the ground before having to lunge him out into the distance, but what Gas continued to do was fling Vegeta around and having to use him to his own advantage, until Gas was then shown having to kick Vegeta up in the sky before tugging him back forward, and from there being shown having to Spartan kick Vegeta so hard in the stomach that you can see Vegeta literally spit out blood, as all the while with Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku now being forced having to watch from a distance instance, it was only from that point on, as he was watching Vegeta get pummeled, where Goku went on to comment, he can use instant teleportation on others? As with Gas now continuing to pummel on Vegeta, Goku then from there went on to shout, enough! But to Goku's surprise, that's when Vegeta, as he was getting hit, went on to turn his head by shouting, stay back, Kakarot! As even with Vegeta's body being shown driven back, as he was shown shaking, after holding on to his head by then being shown smiling, that's when Vegeta went on to respond, yes! With this ideal stimulant, my Ultra Ego continues to evolve. But what of your Ultra Instinct? Vegeta went on to ask Goku. It seems no different than before, and with Goku now questioning this, Vegeta went on to continue, figure it out fast. Until then, he's mine. As it was only right then and there within that very moment, with Ultra Ego Vegeta being shown having to dash directly towards Gas, Gas could not believe as to what he was witnessing, especially with the idea that Gas had about Vegeta in believing the fact that he wasn't going to get back up. It was only during Vegeta's initial reaction in dashing towards him where Vegeta had gone in headbutting Gas directly in the face, which really went on to stagger Gas back, as of course he was shaken up by this. By no means after the headbutt was Vegeta finished, because the moment he had done so in charging back in at Gas, Vegeta just kept on attacking Gas, despite the fact that Gas is supposed to be the mightiest warrior in Universe 7. This was exactly what Goku had realized within that very moment of Vegeta's struggle with Gas, that perhaps maybe Vegeta was in fact onto something in helping buy Goku the time he needed, in hurrying on back and discovering something more to this form, which was exactly what Goku had done, because
Vegeta.
it was during this initial boxing session and seeing Vegeta throw down with Gas, to where Goku was shown having to fly off on a nearby cliff and landing on down and having to now figure out for himself as to what exactly he needed to do in order to get on by in this fight with Gas, as Goku was shown having to look down at his fist by responding, my own Ultra Instinct. To where as we only then see how Goku had calmed himself in reverting right back down to his base form, we then observe how Goku had gone about by closing his eyes and slowly but surely now beginning to meditate, with an energy-like barrier now having to surround him, in doing the best that he could with the time given to him in figuring out a way in mastering Ultra Instinct that better suits him, because contrary to popular belief, it doesn't appear as though the silver-haired UI form is suiting Goku properly during the course of this battle, as of course he seems to be getting nowhere with Gas, so Goku's trying to figure things out, as all the while when going back to Ultra Ego Vegeta and Gas, by no means was Ultra Ego Vegeta letting up against Gas despite having to be severely battle damaged, because Vegeta just kept throwing punch after punch after punch until Gas was shown having to retaliate by punching Vegeta in the face and shouting, cease this pointless struggle, as with Vegeta's body being shown hitting the ground, Gas went on to continue, enough of your deranged technique. But to Gas's horror, once again, a bloody Vegeta was then shown slowly having to stand back up by responding, enough? No, not yet, he says.
Okay.
Sheesh, Maki says, like some sort of zombie. Take him down quick, Gas, Oil went on to shout, to whereas we only then see how Gas had gone about by punching Vegeta so incredibly hard in the ribs that not only was Gas's strike so powerful in its own right, but the initial strike itself had gone in literally tearing a hole through Vegeta's suit, as one would only imagine the amount of punishment that Vegeta's body is going through right now, in now serving as the
You ever be watching anime, you see them throw a punch and that bitch be hard as fuck. Like, you feel that bitch, you're like, damn. That motherfucker hit that motherfucker.
ultimate detractor in getting Gas's attention away from Goku, but to now also add further insult to injury by suggesting to Gas that none of his attacks seem to be working, so as a means of responding, Gas just keeps turning it up on Vegeta in continuously being shown inflicting more and more damage, the highest amount of damage that he possibly can, in further reassuring himself that this time around Vegeta will stay down for good, as with an enraged Gas then being shown shouting and uppercutting Vegeta straight in the face as Vegeta's body went flying up in the air. It was only during mid-flight with Vegeta's body being shown having to hit the ground and rolling back, where Vegeta had not appeared as though he was going to continue at all, as this looked to be it, to where interestingly enough, as this was happening, despite Gas having the upper hand, it would only now appear as though Gas is getting tired from continuously inflicting this much damage on Vegeta, to where as Gas was shown huffing and puffing and trying to catch his breath, that's when Gas went on to comment, you won't be standing standing back up again. But to the horrifying shock of Gas, as he was observing Vegeta very closely, even while remaining face down on the ground, Vegeta had gone in opening his eyes and looking directly at Gas, and basically indicating the fact that no, he wasn't done by any stretch of the imagination, as this itself had gone to terrify Gas enough, because this was the last thing that Gas was expecting to happen, especially when he himself is under the impression that he cannot be beaten, and that essentially anything and everything he does is met with violence. Here, it doesn't look like it appears to be the case, because Vegeta is slowly now beginning to stand back up, as Vegeta from there, as he was beginning to move, went on to respond by telling Gas, "As I said, I am no longer bound by limits." As it was only during this moment where Ultra Ego Vegeta had once again gone and dashing directly towards Gas, with Gas now visibly concerned in the overall fact that he wasn't expecting for Vegeta to stand back up and continue. Even the other heaters, Maki and Oil, went on to recognize this, as they themselves were also concerned for Gas, as we only then see how Gas now had quickly taken initiative in putting up his guard in defending himself. We can visibly see how scared Gas was in the overall idea of Vegeta having to come at him, but something seemed to have changed during the course of this initial engagement, because Gas had now recognized that Vegeta had in fact not come into contact with him, as it was during this moment with Gas being shown opening his eyes and slowly lowering his arms, he was only now shocked to find Vegeta literally standing in front of him, inches away from punching him in the face, as the end result of Vegeta having to endure so much punishment had now led Vegeta in literally passing out during the midst of battle, with Vegeta being shown slowly having to fade forward as he went on to hit the ground below. One could only imagine the amount of physical punishment that Vegeta had to endure, only for his body now to go in shock, as even Gas himself could not believe this, and literally being shown having to be relieved. It was during this moment where Gas went on to comment, "I guess he burned himself out. A technique that damages the user. How stupid." Phew, I was freaking out there for a second, Oil says. As with Gas then out of nowhere spawning yet another sword in his hand, he then went on to continue, "A stupid end befitting a Saiyan." As indeed Gas had now meant every word that he had mentioned, because the moment Gas was shown attempting to stab Vegeta through the skull, it was only out of nowhere as Vegeta was lying down passed out, where all of a sudden a barrier had gone to appear in front of Vegeta, and now being shown having to completely shatter Gas's sword, as even Gas himself could not believe this, in making the assumption that this had come from Vegeta, but Gas knew that Vegeta the whole time was in fact passed out, so this barrier itself couldn't have come from Vegeta. So it was only when Gas had now turned his attention in looking on over in the distance and seeing Goku, where Gas had now seen that not only was a barrier beginning to protect Vegeta from his attack, but also there was also a barrier surrounding Goku, with Goku being shown having to use his fingers without even having to look, and further going on to demonstrate Goku's skill by saving Vegeta without even having to open his eyes. As with Gas now getting extremely annoyed by the overall situation, Gas went on to comment, "Is this your doing?" But even then Goku was not having it, because it was during that point where Goku had gone in levitating Vegeta's body upwards, and from there being shown slowly.
I swear these niggas got a new power every fucking episode. What the fuck is this? The fuck is this? This nigga ain't never displayed this type shit before. This nigga ain't never did this before. This nigga, boy, Dragon Ball Super be on some bullshit. Where Gohan at?
But surely having to levitate Vegeta's body on over next to him, and gently placing Vegeta down as he was still meditating, as Gas from there went on to comment, "What are you up to?" As the moment Gas was shown firing multiple energy blasts directly at Goku's barrier, even the blasts themselves that had seemed to come from the so-called mightiest warrior in Universe 7 had seemingly gone to do nothing to Goku's barrier, as Goku had remained intact, to where once again now we are beginning to see even more frustration come from Gas, as Gas from there went on to respond by telling Goku, "Do you plan to hide behind the shield forever? Emerge now so I may kill you." Which was kind of what Goku had done from there, as the shield had then dissipated, with Goku then responding, "Phew, okay, yep, that was my only option, so I might as well try it out," he says. "Despite your impending death, you remain carefree," he says. "Well, I guess so," Goku responds. "That's just how I am." as the very moment Goku had then gone and leaping on up and having to meet Gas back down on the battlefield, clearly now there seemed to have been something very different about Goku this time around that Gas had noticed, because it was during this initial interaction where Goku had gone and clenching his fist and now beginning to power up, this time however in a different way, with Gas having to notice this, as Gas went on to then comment, another form, silver hair this time or blue? Neither, Goku says. See, I figured out the best transformation to make use of my power, as it was only right then and there during that moment where Goku had gone and unleashing the power of Ultra Instinct Sign or Ultra Instinct Omen, which had not only gone and piquing Gas's curiosity, as of course he's never seen this form before, but also with the Heaters now seeing this too and acknowledging the fact that nothing seems to be different about Goku this time around, as of course they were presently there to see Goku transform multiple times against Granola in using Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, and even the mastered variation of Ultra Instinct, which is that of silver-haired Goku. The last time anyone had ever gone to see this variation of Ultra Instinct Sign Goku was in fact during Goku's initial engagement against Moro, as with Goku now standing ready and clenching his fists and preparing himself for battle, it was only during this initial moment where Oil went on to comment, still black? Why? I thought silver hair indicated maximum strength, Gas says. Why not use that? With Goku responding, for Ultra Instinct to work, I need my heart to be calm and tranquil, but in this form, I can put my emotions to work for me, and believe me, my heart is not calm now. And with Goku being shown giving Gas a very sharp look, Gas had immediately caught PTSD by remembering the same look that Bardock had, as Gas went on to shout, stop that! That look, no! Don't look at me like that! As this was now with Gas having enough and now beginning to dash directly towards Goku, Goku now stood ready and anticipating what Gas was about to do, as of course he was not willing to back down, but instead now having to solely focus on one thing and one thing only, and that was getting the job done and finally defeating Gas once and for all, to where as soon as we see how Gas was now preparing himself and making contact with Goku, the moment Gas had gone in attempting to punch Goku, with Goku now attempting to do the same thing, there was only one major difference during this initial engagement, and that was Goku had actually managed to connect his strike, to whereas Gas on the other hand had barely managed to graze Goku by the cheek, as you could almost kind of feel the impact emanating from the page itself, because Goku had gone in not only having to strike Gas with such tremendous amounts of force that the Heaters themselves, as they were observing this, could not believe it, as a crater was beginning to form underneath their feet, but Goku at that point had gone to deliver such impact behind his strike that it ultimately resulted in Goku breaking off Gas's left horn, and from there creating a massive explosion to where the Heater ship were caught right in the middle of it, and now forcing all of them to quickly leave the ship before it was destroyed, with all of them now seen having to watch from above, with Alec now seemingly very annoyed at the fact that his little brother could not simply get the job done, as of course he had wanted him to do so from the very beginning. The moment we had gone to see Gas's body flying out in the distance, with Goku having to maintain his momentum, similar to what Bardock had done 40 years ago against Gas, we then see how Goku was unrelenting in allowing for Gas to escape or even have leverage in this battle, so instead of just waiting around, Goku instead had decided to dash right back at Gas, as Gas was shown having to be on the floor, and not just screaming in absolute agony, as of course it was during that moment where he had felt such tremendous amounts of pain courtesy of Goku's punch, but the second Gas had gone to sit back up and noticing that Goku was coming right after him, Gas quickly had decided to roll on over, as Goku had gone to miss one of his strikes, but even then, Gas was not on the offensive, but this time around he was trying to be on the defensive and running away, but Goku wasn't going to stand for it. Despite having to run away or not, Goku was immediately in hot pursuit and chasing Gas down, despite Gas having to be attempting to leave, as with Goku then quickly using instant transmission to get behind Gas, with Gas quickly having to find out at the very end. By the time he came to realize that Goku was behind him, it was already too late, because the second Goku had gone to kick Gas up in the air, he from there quickly acted in unleashing an instant Kamehameha directly at him, which one would only imagine the amount of pressure that Gas is feeling, because he can't seem to hit Goku, he can't seem to even get away from him, so at this point he was left with no other option but to face off against this Kamehameha, with to which he did, as the moment the Kamehameha had made impact in connecting up in the sky, with everyone shown watching as the dust began to settle, Gas was then shown extremely battle damaged by responding, how? Bro, what is happening? Seems like I'm just barely stronger than you now, Goku says, but I don't have long, so let's get this done. As through that, the very second we then see how Ultra Instinct Omen Goku had gone in dashing right back up at Gas, Goku just kept attacking Gas non-stop, shot after shot after shot in, going as far as to now demonstrate the initial difference between Ultra Instinct Sign and the silver-haired mastered Ultra Instinct form, and the overall idea that initially Ultra Instinct Sign is allowing for Goku to tap more into his Saiyan instincts in using this in battle, which he is now without question going as far as to demonstrate, because the moment Goku is then shown having to kick Gas away, as all of the rumblings are happening in the distance, we finally then see how Vegeta had now come into his own, in finally waking up after enduring so much punishment, only to look on forward in noticing how Ultra Instinct Sign Goku is in action with Gas, as innately with Gas even attempting to fight back, nothing seems to be working, because with Goku essentially being shown having to counter everything by responding and punching Gas in the face, Gas had enough, and finally with succession he was able to kick Goku right in the chin, but even then this did not appear to work, because the moment Goku had come into his own, in going as far as to maintain the momentum he had, it was only as a response where Goku had gone in unleashing a mouth blast, which mind you he had never done before but has seen, to where not only did Goku's mouth blast go as far as to consume Gas completely, but by the end of it with Gas being shown standing there incredibly battle damaged, Gas from there went on to comment, "Curse you!" This fighting style, Vegeta says. This meant to be Ultra Instinct absurd. I sacrificed my pride to become the strongest warrior in the universe. Behold, Gas shouts, a cretin like you could never hope to surpass me. As to Goku's surprise with Gas then being shown having to spawn all of the weapons that he had used before now up in the air, in an act of rage in wanting to do everything and anything he can to put Goku down for good, Gas was then shown having to, instead of using these weapons, throw all of these weapons right at Goku, to where instead of running away or doing something about it, Goku actually ended up embracing this by from there being shown dashing directly towards the weapons and avoiding each and every single one of them, until Goku had now come face to face with Gas's gigantic wrecking ball, in which as Goku had gone and moving out of the way, this time around, unlike the other weapons, Goku had managed to latch onto the chain of the wrecking ball, and from there being shown swinging it on down forward, in basically turning this whole thing around now on Gas by using his own weapon against him, with Ultra Instinct Omen Goku now shown swinging this gigantically heavy wrecking ball down at Gas. Gas from there had no other choice in doing what he could to stop the wrecking ball from crashing into him, in which he did, but it was the sheer impact and force of this gigantic object weighing down on him, where Gas from there went on to comment, a weapon of my own creation could never bring me down. But before Gas could do anything to turn this entire situation around, out of nowhere, Ultra Instinct Omen Goku had gone to come in out of nowhere by kicking Gas so hard in the chest that you could see all of the pain now emanating from Gas's face, because not only were both of his horns now broken, but he's essentially done. There's nothing at this point that Gas can do to stand up to Ultra Instinct Omen Goku, in which with his body now being shown flying across the sky with Maki and Oil having to see this, they were both in panic, because they both knew during that point in time that Gas was losing the battle against Goku, as they had both from there gone to realize that Gas had now finally crashed into the distance. They also had went on to notice that Alec was nowhere to be found, as Maki went on to comment, Gas, crap, he actually might lose. Where did Alec go? As all the while with Gas now on the floor seemingly defeated, we now found out where exactly Alec had gone to, because with Alec now having to appear in front of his little brother, that's when Alec went on to tell Gas, hey Gas, what do you think you're doing? Alec, why did I make you into the strongest warrior? Alec went on to ask, as of course he went on to grab onto his brother's throat. He then went on to ask him, answer me. To elevate the heaters, Gas says. To the universe's greatest organization. Correct. And what is needed to achieve that, Alec asks. Must kill the Saiyans. Wrong, Alec says. You have to kill Frieza. Stamping out the Saiyans was only a stepping stone along the way. As with the other heaters having to now join in and carefully listening, that's when Alec went on to grab onto Gas's head by shouting, so find the resolve to die in battle if you have to. The power I gave you has to be worth more than this pathetic showing. Alec, come on, Maki says. That's a little too harsh. You don't gotta push him so hard, Oil chimes in. Hey you, Goku shouts, "Don't force the guy like that. If he wants to fight us again, we're up for it whenever," with Elec responding, "Shut up, Saiyan. There won't be a next time for Gas." And with Goku now questioning this, he then went on to ask, "Ooh, what does that mean?" Until, out of nowhere from behind Elec, we only then see how a gigantic aura eruption had then occurred, with both Elec and Goku having to turn around. In finding out as to what had just happened, we only then see how through the aura itself, Gas now was in fact fully healed with his horns being grown back out, but there was a significant change in his appearance, as of course he looked much older and bonier than he did before. As with everyone looking on in absolute shock, that's when Goku went on to ask, "What is up with your face?" "I think you see what I mean," Elec mentions, as it was only right then and there during that moment where Dragon Ball Super manga chapter number 85
Hold on, let's talk about this real quick. Good chapter, but good chapter. Damn, they is prolonging this fucking fight, bruh. Like, damn, niggas got another fucking. I mean, it was a good fight. It's a good fight. That nigga Goku, I don't know what the fuck. I guess he's in the form before Omen, so he can fight harder now. I don't know. I don't understand it, but you know, I don't understand Dragon Ball Super these days. But whatever. If you like that video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and comment down below what you want me to react to next. And I'm gonna catch y'all later. Peace.